right, well, hello again, and thanks for joining us on another edition of CMP TV. I'm Fergal McAlinden, news editor here at Canadian Mortgage Professional. As you know, we recently released the latest edition of our top 75 broker list, highlighting the mortgage brokers across Canada who achieved the most significant volume in their business last year. Plenty of the industry's leading names appeared on that really prestigious list, and today we're joined by one of those brokers to hear just how they managed to achieve such impressive figures in what we all know was a really challenging market. I'm very pleased to welcome Danny Ibrahim of Keyrate Mortgage, based in Ottawa, and one of our top 75 brokers for last year. Well, Danny, welcome, and first of all, congratulations on being into the top 75.
Thank you very much, Fergal. I really appreciate that.
Well, Danny, all of our top 75 list has a really interesting story in the mortgage industry, but yours is a little bit more colorful than others. Tell us a little bit about how you get started in mortgage and your journey through the industry.
I'm very grateful. I'm very thrilled. I believe some people we knocked some people off of the top 75 list, and we made it. I think I hit number 6 in Canada. Yeah, I'm very happy. It's exciting times, very hard work, a lot of dedication that came with it. It was good.
Well, Danny, as you mentioned, you've worked in mortgage markets across a few different countries. Has that been an advantage, or how has it influenced your work as a broker in Canada?
Yeah, the journey all started in California, 2000 and I think it was 2005. And navigated all the way through. It was booming. The market was doing great over there. I learned all the tricks and trades of how to be like, I believe, a true broker in California. And then later on, we ended up going to Dubai after the foreclosure crisis happened, and all the banks started shutting down, and there was so many foreclosures, so we couldn't keep up with the no equity inside the homes. It feels a little bit similar to what's happening here right now with power sales. And just to touch on this note a little bit, I told everybody, if you start seeing your neighbor listing a house and your neighbor's neighbor listing a house, I think we're going to be in trouble just a little bit for a little small duration of a time frame. But you're starting to see that more and more and more. And that's what I saw back in 2008 in California. Everybody started listing out the properties. In Florida, everybody was listing out their properties. There was no more equity in the home. There was challenging times. There was a lot of foreclosures and power sales. That's when I really decided I didn't want to be in that type of marketplace and just move off directly into Dubai. And that's when I started working there at a bank and getting that banking exposure and understanding how the banking system actually works. Definitely learned a lot about compliance and anti-money laundering when you're there. Different type of mortgages. They do Sharia. They still do conventional type of mortgages. And we still had to do all the suitability assessments over there. And then, I had enough of Dubai. I found that I really wanted to come back to Canada. I thought, being part of it was the G8 at the time, but the G7, let's just call it. I really wanted to plant my roots back into Canada and Canadian economy. And I really thought that would be a journey that I could actually take on for the rest of my life. And I came back here. I worked for a national bank. And then I worked for this huge brokerage firm. Then I opened up my own team under that mortgage brokerage firm. Then I went fully independent in 2017 or 2019, right before COVID. And yeah, still independently owned and operated up to today. And we have a team of about 60 somewhat agents inside the office. But those volumes, just to reiterate, those volumes were only based on my volume targets. It wasn't my team volume targets, because if I did my team volume targets, I think we would have been number 1, which is pretty cool on the list. That's my journey.
Danny, we know that it's been a really challenging market over the past year. Tariff, trade war, that's all been in the headlines. But even before that, it was quite a difficult market. How have you been finding success in what's been widely viewed as a down market over the past year?
Yeah. Look, I never put my mind into politics, even though I live in Ottawa and I see it on a daily basis. And you walk down the street, somebody's talking about politics on a daily basis. Tariffs, trade wars, whatever. All that doesn't really matter. There's still a house that somebody wants to finance and they want to live in. So you try to take your you take your mindset as a broker, and you don't focus on the politics. And you certainly do not try to be an economist and try to predict. You have one job. You're a broker. You finance a property, whether it's a purchase, refinance, debt consolidation, second mortgage. That's what you do. And that's what I do. I don't look at anything else except for financing a property. I don't even talk about politics. I don't talk about trade wars, tariffs, HST, what have you. I don't discuss any of that whatsoever. Being a broker, I just finance the property and I just get it done. That's it. That's what I focus on directly with the client.
And Danny, any particular segment of the market or buyer type that you've been focused on? That you mentioned those AAA and private credit clients.
Yeah, I could run you through like a scenario. There's a lot of people that don't have the adequate down payment after realizing that they purchase a new property. So they would probably need sometimes bridge loan financing temporarily if they had another property, so they could purchase that new property that they got. So we would put them into like a secured 1-year term loan, and then with the hopes of the economy getting better over time. And if there's any sort of buildup of a little bit equity or there's better sales in the marketplace, then we switch them off to hay type of loans, or we find different solutions, either a cosigner, guarantor. I think a long time ago, we used to talk about the bank of mom and dad. Everybody completely forgot about that. But, mom and dad certainly have still are there giving out money to different type of family members and helping out finance certain properties out there. And we always try to figure out a solution, always.
So one thing that I think all of the top 75 brokers have in common is that it's a really hectic life, Danny, and hard to find a work-life balance, I would guess. Do you have any advice or recommendations for brokers who might be struggling with that?
Virgil, all my pictures that you'd see on CMP, I'm shaved. So like literally, this has been about like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I do like, you wake up at 5 o'clock, you're on your laptop, you're on your cell phone, you're on text messages, you're on Messenger, you're on Instagram, you're on every single social media platform, WhatsApp. It's a go-go business. I have 4 boys, all under 7. So 7, 5, 3, and 2 years old. And God bless my wife. She handles everything inside the household, along with about 3, 4 nannies that definitely help out. But that allows me to be as productive as possible here and tune to just doing mortgages. That's all I know. For the last 20 years, that's what I've been doing. That's all I know. That's all I know how to do. If you told me put a nail in the wall, I could manage to do that. But that's all you do is mortgages.
And how about when it comes to the market that we're likely to see over the next year? Any kind of specific approach you'll be taking or anything in particular you're focused on?
Yeah, I'm actually taking it month by month. I mean, there's a lot of mortgage brokers that talk a lot of talk on social media and then interrupt the marketplace, and they think they're disturbing the marketplace in that sense by talking what's going to happen next year. I think those are all predictions and false statements. You really have to see the track record of what's happening in the commodity sector more. You're seeing a lot of like steel, glass, gold prices going up completely. That will affect the buying power next year. There's only one concerning thing that I have in this in our market because of the loose equity, is that we managed to do 80% financing on conventional mortgages right now, but if the lenders change their guidelines and drop it down to 70%, I mean that would be like the bottom line, where I would think that there would be some sort of mismanaged guideline of how this economy is headed. I'm just waiting to see if a lender would actually do that. And usually, typically, if one lender starts, everybody else will follow suit. So there was a little bit of talks on that, and I hope next year that doesn't happen. But again, those are all stipulations and predictions that everybody has. And I'll take it with a grain of salt. We don't know.
Great stuff. And look, I won't ask you to spill your secrets, Danny, but I'm just wondering if there's any advice that you have for brokers who are maybe hoping to take their business to the next step and even land a place on the top 75 list next year.
Yeah, that's good. You need definitely an assistant inside the office. You need a processor. Some people are like, what is a processor? You mean an underwriter? I'm like, no, you need somebody to organize your charts, organize your pipeline, organize the structure of what you're submitting on a daily basis. So I'll give you a little generality, like a little brief summary of how I do it. I do not do any file submissions until 3 p.m. I don't submit the deal all in the morning. I gather up as many documents as I can through the processor, through our AI technology, which is only for us to use. No one else could have access to it. And through there, I get all the documents, but I would only look at the file afterwards around 2 to 3 p.m. and then submit the file. I don't do the file, submit it right away, and then jump to the next one. I do all the files and then all the file submissions at 2 to 3 p.m. on a daily basis. And Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, we do document collection and collect documents to submit them directly to lenders on the AAA side. So I have a formula that's happening inside the office, and it's mainly organization and good reputation. I think that's my formula. And being in the business for such a long time really, really helps. You can't just become a broker in 1 year and think that you're going to be top 75 or the best in the industry. No, it's going to take you, it'll take you a while, 5 to 10 years at least, I would say.
Okay, I think that's a perfect place to lead things off for today, Danny. Thanks again for being with us. I really appreciate your time. Some great insights there, and congratulations again for landing a spot on the top 75 list.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, well, that just about does it for today's edition of CMP TV. My thanks once again to Danny Ibrahim of Keyrate for joining us today. Thanks to you for watching, and we will see you next time.